Welcome to Solopreneur Success Strategies, and I'm Jane Gardner, and you're at Get Your Message Out Tuesday here on jane-gardner.com/SSS if you want to subscribe, and welcome. Hi, today is Get Your Message Out Tuesday, where it's all about you and your messaging. We have been working on you and your brand for the last 4 weeks and had a discussion about what you need to do in order to figure out what your brand messaging would be. Mostly it's about finding out who your customers are. And now we're going to be talking about your website and how it fits into your messaging as well with your brand. So I'm Jane Gardner, and I work with my husband for the last 20 years in our engineering firm, and we're working on it still over in Western Canada. And today's training, we're going to be starting to talk about your website. So if you want to see the video later on my website, it is at http://jgtips.com/GYMOT, just like Get Your Message Out Tuesday, GYMOT. So I just wanted to go over what we've done quickly before. As you know, I'm Jane Gardner of jane-gardner.com. And I have this Who Am I, which I use every time I do a session so that you get to know me, as well as it's part of my branding to show you that I work in a home business and that I have several websites, etc. So this is one way that you can become branded, is to make people aware of who you are. There are probably 4 billion people out there on the internet now, and out of those, I'm sure you can find the people who are your customers and who are your audience. You just have to be able to have the messaging to attract them to you and to your website, and of course go out on the web in social media and talk to them there, and we'll be doing that later in the year. But at you and your brand for Get Your Message Out Tuesday. A brand is not your logo or your colors, is what everyone who visits your business should know about your business. So your messaging is your brand. It comes from your values and standards in your business. Will you have a personal brand or a business brand? Well, that's up to you. And we discussed that a couple of weeks ago, so you can go to http://jgtips.com/YouTube and go and see my Solopreneur Success Strategies playlist, and you'll have the various other episodes there to have a look at. But right now we're going to be talking about what other things you need to know for your brand. So let's have a look, see if I can find it. Well, no, I couldn't find it. So we went over last week testing. Always pre-test your messaging and your brand to see what people think about your testing of your brand and what your messages are. See if you can narrow your brand target down to the customers that you will appreciate who you are and your messaging. And of course, always be consistent in your messaging and maintain the campaign consistency with your logos and your brand elements, they're called. I have a 6-day intensive to being a brand ninja. We go to http://jgtips.com/brand, and we identify some of the unique benefits of your business, how you can differentiate your business from your competitors, how you can identify your core market of audience customers, and maybe you have a sub-markets as well. All of this information will make it easier for you to make the decision about naming your product or business, and then how to develop your brand messaging and measure it, the effectiveness of your brand messaging, and reassessing and refine it. And once you have your messaging, you can attract your ideal customer. But for Get Your Message Out Tuesday, we started with you and your brand for 4 weeks, and now we're going to be going on to you and your website. And after that, we'll be talking about you and social media. When you go out onto social media, what your messaging will be. And we'll look at the various social media platforms and how they differ and how your messaging should be different. But your brand is your promise, your commitment, and what you stand for and stand against in your business. It is basically your mission, your vision for your business. And from that, and from your research of your customers and who they might be, then you can decide what your messaging will be. And your messaging for your brand should be consistent. It should be something that is acceptable to you by your customer, easy for them to understand, and it has a unique edge to differentiate itself from your competitors. So that is what your brand is. It's your promise and your commitment and what you stand for and stand against in your business. So some of the brand strategies we went over were, of course, to be consistent in your messages. So before you go out and start doing messaging, go and figure out first how you can be unique from your competitors and whether the customer will accept your messages. Go test that out. And what you want to be is consistent enough that you become a household name for your audience, for your brand. If you're consistent, if you're unique, and if your customers accept your messages. And there's also, we went over some of the 7 steps to business branding. First, you identify your paying market, and then you target your customer in the market. Then you name your business in an easy to read and remember format. And then you focus on the elements for your brand, which includes your logo and your colors, etc. All these things that people think are the brand, but they're not. They're just brand elements. And then you implement strategies to measure your brand success and also, of course, to increase awareness for your brand. Measure your brand success and then refine your strategy, maybe even narrow your brand target of your customers. Once you find out that there are actually some people who are more focused on your messaging than others, then you can narrow down your brand target to that audience. So those are some of the things that we went over in the last 4 weeks. And so today we're going to be talking about your website messaging. And we'll just keep it fairly brief today because it's basically lots of things for you to think about. Once you've decided on your brand messaging and who your audience may be, you've got to decide what is the primary goals for your website. Who are you? What do you offer? Just write an overview of the information you feel is needed in your website content. But then you have to go and look at what does your user need and what are they looking for and how do you fulfill that need. So there's 2 sides to the story about what you want to do for your brand for your website. You look at what your goals are for the website, what you're offering there, and what you want to happen with your end result with your website. And then you go and look at, well, okay, thinking about the information that you have already, what does your user need? Who is your user? You know that already because you've done your customer profile and customer target market. And what are they looking for? So that is actually the hardest question to answer and needs a lot of research from knowing who your customer profile is. And how do you fulfill that need? So that'll be 2 sets of questions actually for you to answer before we start looking at some sample websites. So you analyze your current homepage and what it should say is saying about your business and your services. So based on your first analysis on what you want your website to say as well as what your user wants your website to be, what does your website say about your brand? What does your website say about your mission? What does it say about what you stand for and stand against? Do people understand who you are from looking at your homepage? And based on your potential audience, does it have the colors and branding elements that your audience would like and be attracted to? We'll look at colors and branding later in the discussion in a couple of weeks, or maybe next week. We'll look at some sample websites. But basically, what does your website say about you? What is the end result for your website when someone comes to visit your website? Are they getting what they need, or are you not having what they need right now? Are you making it simple for them to understand who you are? Are you making it simple for them to get whatever you are giving them on your website? So your homepage tells the visitors who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer. So it should address any questions and problems of your customer target market. So if you start with the goal you have in mind as the end result for your website, i.e., whether it's to have people come and visit and learn about you, or people come and visit and get one of your ebooks, or people come and visit and actually make a sale, what does your website say about you and your business? And is it easy for them to understand who you are, what you do, and do you have what they need? So you have to probably look at your website homepage for quite a bit for next week. So you put yourself in your visitor's shoes as well. So they're going to be asking when they visit your homepage or any other page, who is this? What do they do? What makes them different from anyone else who has a page like this or website? And what else do they have to offer besides what I'm looking at right now? The content should answer these basic questions. So next week, after answering these questions about what you want for your website, what your customer is looking for on your website, we will be looking at some website examples and see how they do this in a simple but very easy to understand way, and what do they say about their own brand as well. As well as that, hopefully we'll get to colors and to logos and all that other stuff and the various other features, and what this. There are 4 pages to your website which are essential for anyone to get to know, like, and trust you. So we'll be looking at that, some of that next week. But for now, these are some of the questions you have to ask yourself about the website that you have now, as well as what the website is that you want to have for your target market. So for the 6-day early adopter offer to learn about being a brand ninja, go to http://jgtips.com/brand, or you can just go to the http://jgtips.com/GYMOT for the show video, and have a look again at those questions in order to do some homework for that. Or you can contact me at jane-gardner@jane-gardner.com with any questions on brand. As well as I have a cheat sheet for optimizing your website with some key questions about the key pages for your website. And that is at website cheat sheet, I think. So it's at http://jgtips.com/website cheat sheet. And you can opt in to get that cheat sheet to work with, as well on deciding what your key pages for your website should be if you haven't started designing your website yet. So that's quite a bit of homework for you to have a look at your website. And I will be looking at my website and checking and seeing if I can answer all those 4 questions, as well as what would you understand about my website when you came to it. And we'll see you next week to talk about have a look at some examples first of websites that I think might be able to answer those kind of questions about who they are, as well as maybe getting some key ideas on what the 4 pages you need essentially for your website, and how you can create a website that speaks to your customer and your brand. That's quite a big thing to have to do in 10 minutes. So we maybe have to separate that into 2 shows. But we will continue on with this and have a look at some websites next week. So I'll set that up and I'll talk to you later. It's Jane Gardner at jgardner@jane-gardner.com. Thank you.